Good evening, everybody. It's Quizzy Monday once again. We've been treated to a couple of great shows again. That Only Connect show was thrilling, and I'm delighted that we've got 4 of the players from Only Connect with us tonight. So we'll be talking to them very shortly. Don't forget, you can put comments in the chat, and we'll be able to bring them on through the course of the show. Any questions, any observations that you have. Catherine, she has COVID right now, so I hope you feel better, Catherine. We've got some nice sympathy for you in the chat there from Claire, etc. Puzzle Dan. Now, is this Daniel Peake in the chat, one of the writers on Only Connect? Well, he's going, let's go Team Thrifters. And evening to Steve, to Chris. Hey, Jack, who is one of our guests, is in there in the chat. And Miles is saying, evening, just signed up for the British Quiz Championships next month. I'll be at the Northampton one. So I will see you at Northampton, Miles. So put your comments and questions in the chat throughout the show. And I'll put this up here so I can't be accused of forgetting it. But please, if you are new to the channel, if you like what we do, then please like this video and click subscribe. It will help other people like you to find us. So I'll pop that off for now. More on that shortly. But before we get going, no, actually, let's get going. Let's bring on our guests. So we have from the Thrifters, Will, Jack, and Sam. And from the Suncatchers, we have Ben. So Will,
hello,
Sam, Jack, Ben.
Hello.
Evening, all.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, that was a match, wasn't it? That was a thrilling one. We have both of the captains here. That was heading to a tie break.
Yeah.
Until the very last second. How aware were you of that prospect as that round went on? Did you know it literally went down to one question?
I did, yeah. When they'd done the third lot of missing vowels, the James Bond ones, I was convinced that was it. I think me and Will both took our hands off the buzzer very temporarily, and then they said, and the next category is, and we're like, oh God, okay. And then I had it in my head it was a tie at that point, and then I know I got the first one, Ben got the second one, so it all came down to that last one that Will luckily came in clutch there at the end. Yeah.
I was counting the scores as well. It was actually the only time I did it. I didn't do it on the next game because I thought, I wonder if I distracted myself. But yeah, because actually it worked quite neatly. I think we both got 2 each on the first 3 sets of missing vowels, and then I think we were 3-1 on the
third
Bond
one. Yeah.
So I knew that had got us tied. And then so I was counting in my head. And maybe if I hadn't been, I'd have got cupbearer. Who knows? Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've leapt straight to the final round. We'll come back to it. Andrew from last year's Only Connect is in the chat. Amazing match of OC. We will come back to that, but I think let's go back earlier. Now, Jack, this is not your first time on Quizzy Monday. You were on Mastermind last series. And you were on our show and you came and chatted to us. What possessed you to go on Only Connect and how did your team come about?
Well, I think I've got the bug now when it comes to game shows. It was Mastermind was I did it on a whim during lockdown, sort of applied for everything, and now it's sort of become a bit more that sort of aiming at really sort of trying to get on and do well. Sam and Will, we all met through online quizzing over Twitch and Discord, and then it was Connections Online Quiz League that we
became a team properly.
Yeah.
So we got somebody saying here that it's that's Cockle's fault. So you've got some experience of playing together then before you were on the show, playing the actual format of the game.
And I think we're quite good at sort of knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses, and overall, I think we've got a pretty good knowledge base between us, for sure.
Yeah. And Ben, how about your team? How did you come about?
So we were a team of solo applicants. So we'd never met until we turned up at the studio. We'd met virtually, I think, before the audition. They put us in touch, and we had a chat together, and then and maybe a little practice, can't remember.
Mm.
And then we did the audition, and then we got on, and then we sort of had a few more sort of online chats, but never done anything together before that, and obviously didn't know each other until we got put together as a team, and didn't meet until we turned up for the filming.
So quite the reverse of the Thrifters then. So you hadn't spent seasons in Cockle playing Only Connect questions till you knew each other's thought processes down to the nth degree. When you first got together, did were you discussing any sort of tactics, any game plan?
Not really, no. It actually worked out quite nicely. I mean, you can probably tell from the fairly lame team name that we didn't actually have much in common. In terms of, we couldn't find anything that all three of us had in common. We had a lot of twos in common, but nothing really that all three of us had in common. The closest we came was Charlotte and Alice both like bats, the mammals. And I said, well, I like cricket bats, but that was the closest to me. That being like the bat fans or something. But so we ended up as the sun catchers because we really don't have that much in common. But that actually, I think, helps because we've got different knowledge and we know about different things. So, I'd thought about going on for years with some of my friends, but we just know the same stuff. And so it wouldn't really, we'd just have too many gaps, too many black holes where, we'd be all over Test cricket triple centuries, but we'd have absolutely nothing on classic literature, for example. So, from that perspective, actually, it was really nice. And I think as well, it was nice, and being captain of people you don't know is actually, I think, in some ways quite helpful because you have to respect their knowledge and what they're saying in a way that if you're playing with really good mates, you kind of think, well, maybe I think I know more about that than them. I'm not sure, he knows that much. I think you're sort of a bit more open-minded and a bit less judgmental about the people you already know.
That's interesting. You did have a very very nice team. Charlotte was going to be here tonight, but Charlotte's not well. So we send our best wishes to Charlotte. Steve in the chat, shout out for Charlotte's guinea pig dress. That was getting a lot of love out there in the Twitter sphere. So yeah, I think there
might be another one from the same manufacturer coming up on the second show. So fans of Charlotte's dress are in for another treat.
Stay tuned.
Well, I tell you what, by next season there'll be a team united by their love of Charlotte's dress. So we send our best wishes to Charlotte, and hopefully we will see her before too long. Now, one of the things I don't think we've ever really talked about on the show is what sort of information you're given about kind of the rules and how the game plays out beforehand. That came to mind because there was the exclamation points question where Victoria made some sort of comment about, as it's the first round, but you won't have that long later. Were you given any guidance on kind of how quickly you had to answer?
You get a little bit. You get a written document which sort of sets out, I want to say the rules, but not so much the rule. I've been a lawyer now and trying to sort of, determine between rules and guidance. And so I think there was stuff saying that there's more tolerance and leeway earlier on. Yeah. And I think Victoria said that sort of to us before the film.
Sort of informally.
The producer who kind of does the warm up as well was saying that you've got a bit more, a bit more leeway earlier on, but things will get tighter if you go further in the tournament. So, but to be honest, at that point, we were so panicking about not knowing that answer that you're not thinking, how long have we got? It's just, I was struggling. I really should have got that, and we should have got it earlier. And then Alice just somewhere brilliantly from nowhere came up with it. And I was like, I go, yeah, that's our answer. So just desperate to take anything at that point.
And I've been in that situation in that studio where I'm on the thrifters side of things, probably thinking, I know this. They haven't got it. I'm waiting for this to come over. And then it's like one of these things where, time is relative and it just seems to drag on forever. How was that for you, thrifters?
I think because we got that, I think Will spotted
about 2 or 3, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, we're kind of used to it with playing connections at this point. Like, it wasn't quite because I might have been a bit upset otherwise, but no, it's the way the game is. These
You never-
We've called it getting cuckolded.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's in some ways it's the worst bit of it because you're there,
Yeah.
kind of partially hoping that people aren't going to get it, so you can answer it. But then you're also feeling a bit, a bit guilty for feeling like that. So it's conflicting, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I found it. Oh, go on. Sorry.
In Connections on QUIZZY, I have absolutely no issue with looking like absolute thunder when that happens. But I realise I'm on TV. There might be a camera on me. I have to be sort of, oh, well done.
Yeah, you have to be very aware of that. I had this bizarre paranoia that somehow, if I was thinking about the answer, that something about my face might give it away to the opposition. So I was trying to think of anything else, and then the opposite.
And we would do that, right? So we would be trying to be as quiet as possible, discussing it when it wasn't our question, in case we somehow give it to the opposition. But then when it's your question, you realise, like, you're so busy thinking and trying to listen to your team. There's no way you're going to hear what somebody 15 meters over there is talking about, and so you just that seems silly in the end. It's
we got
like kind of hiding your work when you're in a test at school or something. Not giving it to them.
There's the absolute having kittens waiting for things to be passed over. That's true.
I remember it was our game where, like, was it one of your team asked how loud should we be, and it's like you'll figure it out pretty quickly. Or was that a different game? I'm not sure, but yeah,
I think it was us.
Like it's just a case of when you're in the moment, you know how loud or quiet you need to be in a sense, like circumstances.
Yeah, I mean it's a tricky one because you don't want to give the opposition anything, but actually speaking out loud is sometimes about the only way, to piece different pieces of information together, a captain to make a call.
And I think as well, we were obviously the first year since the screens have gone away, the COVID screens. So I think that helps. And also, I think I probably realised, and probably should have realised this before, clever people who actually put the programme together are kind of equalising the sounds to how loud or quiet they want you to be. When you're the opposition conferring, they're probably turning you right down. And when you're, it's your question, they're probably getting you to the level they want you to be. So you could probably be talking at normal volume and that'd be fine. Or if you're too quiet, they'll bring you up. So,
we got a comment from Claire, who is a former Mastermind finalist, and I believe on this series of Only Connect. Learned a valuable lesson from Gareth in the OQL. When I put my hand up so quickly for a question, he guessed the answer must be cycling. That's where having a knowledge of the opposition can be a disadvantage. But I think on Only Connect, that's becoming less and less a thing. There's fewer people who are kind of regulars on the circuit and therefore knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses. Jack, your Naruto knowledge in round one was pretty good. Naruto the macaque.
Shame we didn't get the answer, but
it didn't occur to me that it's actually important.
That was definitely one. I'm sitting at home watching it tonight, going, "Why on earth didn't why didn't you get it? And why didn't we pick it up?" But just sitting there, going, "Come on."
But afterwards, you had all the knowledge, Jack. It was as if you were a fanboy, and you were trying to make up for not getting it. Good knowledge though, Jack. I was impressed by that.
Maybe the Naruto should have been our team name, perhaps.
It did feel in some episodes you were thinking sort of you would say something you think that's nowhere near interesting for them to keep in. I expected that to be cut entirely, and I was saying at the time, I was saying they're never gonna say that I knew about the macaque.
and yet, but I think what we saw. We had quite a lot of missing vowels compared last week. I don't think we even got through 3 sets of missing vowels. You got into a 4th. And I think because, there was some really good answering, particularly round 2 and on the walls, there was time to fill. So really, Jack, it's kind of your own fault, really, that was but no, that was great. Any highlights from round 1 other than that? Any particular questions you enjoyed?
I don't know about enjoy, but definitely I think getting the first one on the board when
Yeah.
Will spotted it, we all knew there were synonyms, but we couldn't figure out what word. And when Will got it, it's good to already, start off with a 2-pointer. You got some points in the bank no matter what happens at that point.
Definitely getting points
just
on the
a bit
board
relief.
in the first.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sam, I don't mean to talk over you.
No,
Yeah, getting points on the board in the very first question, I think it relaxes you, because I was nervous as anything before. It's my first TV show I'd done for a while, so I was terrified, and so to get that, so it's just kind of relaxed you into it, really.
Yeah. Because it took you a little longer, didn't it, Sun Chasers, to get into the game, but you did get it on the music round. Were you one of these teams where as soon as you hear that ping, it's like, oh god?
No, I quite like the music questions. I've never seen the terror in them, to be honest. I mean, I quite like music. I'm not saying I'm a music expert, but I'm probably as decent on music as as the average quizzer, and and I think the same for Alice and Charlotte, actually. So no, I've never really got it when people groan and terrible music questions. I quite enjoy them, to be honest. So no, was happy with that.
I think for me, one of the delightful questions was the King Queen Jack set. That was a really nice set.
It's only now on a rewatch I realised that I somehow couldn't think of a Jack in the moment.
You can't be yourself in an answer. I mean, that's just egomania gone mad, isn't it? If you're suddenly.
And lifetime achievement unlocked, Jack, if you'd have been able to do that. But never mind. So 4 points to 2 at the end of the first round. Round 2, though, was a completely different beast. Both of you scored really heavily. And it was just some fantastic quizzing. Now, fast buzzes or fast guesses. The Doctor Who showrunners one. That was superb.
In fact, I think we worked out they maybe cut a bit out there because I don't think we got to it quite that quickly. But it definitely came.
I think there was a slight discussion as to whether we should have gone for the 5, whether we should go for the 5, and then we decided against it.
Yeah, just because it's too risky. It could have been a lot of things. Like we thought it was Doctor Who from the second we saw Russell, but it was like that's not risky just in case.
It was one of those things that we knew had become a group of 4 in the year between filmings. So we had it in the back of our head that this might come up. That and winners of the Masked Singer we had in our head.
Yes.
Charlotte had got that for us as well. And also the other one that she'd made us learn, there was one that she made us learn, which was it was people who joined NATO. Finland, the most recent, I've forgotten now. And also people who preceded Rishi Sunak. So she'd gone back and researched like who preceded him in the sort of his 4 last jobs, in case that one came up.
Right, yeah. So I just seen Chris Dyson on this is the one that could have been a 5 for Sun Chasers, I think, from your perspective. Chris's solution, Harrico, Marjoram, Supersonic Starjump, Harmar Superstar being the secret, which is probably pushing it a little bit.
I think with the numbers that doesn't quite work. I think without the numbers, brilliant. But
But we were talking just before we came on air about kind of the dilemma. So with 4 and ICOT, as soon as I guess if you work out APR goes in front of it and 4 is April, you've got the route in. But your dilemma presumably was, which way does this go?
Yeah, totally. Alice got it pretty much instantly. She was like, well, that's apricot. And then I think I said, right, well, the 4th month's April. And then obviously there's 2 ways it can go. And the most obvious way is it's 4, 3, 2, 1, back to January. But if we get that wrong, not only do we lose what is basically a guaranteed 3 points, we give them a guaranteed 1 point because they're going to pick it up because it's going the other way. So there's a 4-point swing hanging on it. And, in hindsight, we'd have gone for it, got it right, and won by a point. But, it doesn't work like that. And it just wasn't a risk worth taking. You're basically gambling the extra 2 points against losing 4. And on a 50-50 chance, all right, it's maybe not 50-50 because it's more likely to go back to 1 that is down to 7. The odds just aren't in your favour. And I think that was, that sounds like a lot to sort of instantly process, but that was just my gut feel in the moment. And so called next and, got the 3 points, which was still obviously really good. You don't know how close the game's going to end up. So, I still think it was the right thing to do.
I think so. I think tactically, if a game is, I suppose the only time to be cavalier is if you're miles behind, because
if we've been 5 points behind,
that
was the last question of the round, then maybe you go for it and you think, well, we're either level or it's game up. But I still think it was the right thing to do.
I think that was one of a number of questions in this particular round where at home on your sofa, you'll be patting yourself on the back that you got a bunch of 5s. But when you're in the studio and you're faced with that equation of, but if it is wrong, I get nothing, they pick up bonuses, and we're in a worse position. It just makes it different. So there was that one. I'm a Doctor Who fan, and I didn't spot the that one. So kudos, guys, on that. Then there was the Eurovision one, which again, Monaco to UK, you could have.
No, I didn't know that from the first. It was the Luxembourg to the UK in 74. So I knew we'd hosted in 74 in Brighton, and even then, that's one that I'm still not quite sure why I was certain on that, because the Monaco one I wasn't certain on. I mean, could I have said Luxembourg won it in 73? Probably not, in all certainty. But it just, and I think that was one where we knew we were a bit behind, and I was like, right, I'm going for this. Because what else realistically was that going to be? So,
again, the thing that had become a thing, the Ukraine, the UK one, that's that same thought process. Then we did get our 5.
Yeah.
So, Sam, you're sat there, probably, getting things in both ears, and then also trying to do that calculation in your head. But at one point, was it you, Sam, who said, "Right, I think I want to go for it," and we're kind of quite positive.
Yeah.
What was that team dynamic then like with that question? Did you feel kind of a little bit of pressure, or did you feel quite confident on it?
Bit of both, really. I mean, when we looked at it, it was a case of sort of what else could this possibly be? And I know Jack's really into his US politics, so it was good to have pretty confident that it was 3, FDR 4. But even then, it's still like, did we really want to risk this? Did we not just want to get another one just in case? And I think when we did practice on the database, I was sort of maybe a bit more risky with what I went for. So it was nice to just sort of like consult the team. Do we definitely want to go with this? Am I being crazy here, or is this should we do it, sort of thing? Just keep me in check, basically, more than anything, because I will just go for it if I'm given the chance to. So.
Your reckless guessing and the practicing sometimes can be mad.
That's it,
But
this time it was justified.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, there was the logic, wasn't there, Jack? So that's the thing. You knew what the logic was.
It's funny watching it back, because I remember seeing the first clue and having no idea, and then Sam just says to me, "Is it presidents?" And I say possibly, and then what I remember is just me going, "Oh." And which I've done a few times in connections on the quiz league, where I've just sort of, it's come to me, I did the thing where I sort of worked it through, and then I'd concluded that there was, Sam concluded before me that there was nothing else it could be, once I'd sort of said it's FDR. FDR's the only one who's been between 3 and 4. But I probably would not have gambled if it was just me on my own. It was Sam's guts, and I'm happy that he did.
I thought that was great teamwork, because between the 3 of you got there, and then great captaincy from Sam, who was like, "No, I'm going for it." But that's where I think knowing Jack's knowledge on that is really strong, probably helped you have the confidence to go for it. So it was fantastic. I think we probably got it from the Nixon, the second one. I hadn't got it at that point, but that was fantastic.
Yeah, Andrew saying great get on the presidents, which it was. But a really, really good round. There'll be one person who is disappointed. If I can find the comment. The CJ Demouy will be gutted once again to miss out on being the clue for a CJ question.
So I was really worried about that question, because I'd misidentified AJ Adudu as Naomi Campbell. And when you're there, obviously the screen you're looking at is actually quite a long way away, and it's not
the pictures aren't that big.
It's like the normal, normal to big size TV, which is about like 20 feet or more away from you. And I was thinking, oh man, I'm going to look so stupid on telly having got those two mixed up. And then the picture came up on screen tonight. I was like, actually, that does look a lot like Naomi Campbell. So I didn't feel too bad about it. That was the one that I'd been thinking, oh man, I'm going to look stupid. But actually, in the end, I didn't think it was too bad.
I mean, it's doubly tricky, isn't it? Because you get that one shot of it large on the screen, but then once it then shrinks down for subsequent pictures, you never get to see it again as clearly as that first time. So that does make it quite difficult if you haven't recognized it initially.
There's a little bit, I think neither of Alice or Charlotte had recognized it. And so I think I was then sort of panicking, thinking, well, hang on, we've got to... and so I was sort of filling the gap, I think, by saying, that looks like Naomi Campbell. I think Alice said to me, no, it's not. But then obviously we moved on and, had we got AJ Adudu, obviously from, BJ Novak, we would have then got the 3 points. But as it was, we got the 2. So that was fine.
I mean, there's so much to talk about from here, but we've got a comment. I don't know who We Like Shapes is, but they certainly know what they're talking about. There's a bit in the briefing notes they send you that says something like sequence questions that are part of a longer sequence will usually finish at one end or a very well-known point. I guess that's good to know, but then to remember it in the heat of battle.
Yeah, I don't remember reading that. I mean, to be fair, it's like a really long document, so it's possible.
Yeah, exactly. They might have said that, but even so, I still think it's a risk that probably wasn't worth taking.
No. So round 2, 10 to the Sunchase, 12 to the Thrifters. Really, really good quizzing. Stepped up, several gears in that round, and it was really good.
I think that was the nerves settling down as well for us. As well. We kind of felt like we'd started to feel the pace of it a bit more.
I think Victoria had actually made a comment as well. She had something like, "Oh, it's good to see you warmed up" or something after that. I remember saying it. Yeah.
Does there come a point where you kind of forget that there are cameras on you? And you're just playing the game.
Yes, yeah.
I think I said at the time it felt like you're in a virtual reality. It was more like you were in a virtual reality game rather than filming a TV show.
I've done the Cube experience in Manchester. It was like the only Connect experience. It wasn't like it was a real thing. It was actually happening. Sort of thing on TV.
I've always.
No, it's all right. Yeah.
For the past, God knows how many years. I don't give my age away. But I remember doing my driving test. This was the thing I always still sort of root it back to. I remember sort of doing my driving test and being about like halfway down the first street of my driving test and thinking, this is my driving test, which when you're 17 is like the biggest deal ever. And that was the first time I kind of had that alternate reality of sort of almost being aware that I was doing something, but almost sort of from the outside, if you see what I mean. And this felt a little bit like that at times, where you're sort of aware and you're like, hang on, this is really only Connect. And, having watched it for so many years, to finally be there was really weird.
It was a weird one for me because I was never been affected by exam stress. As soon as I stepped into an exam and sat down, it just became a set of questions for me, and it felt like that with the Honor Connect Studio. But the only exception was I could not look at my nameplate. As soon as I saw my name on that nameplate, I was completely taken out of it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" So I just avoided looking at it whenever I walked past.
That's a really interesting little bit of psychology, isn't it? Because actually that brings you back to the people are going to be watching me thing, which is easy to forget when you're in the studio and there's a few camera crew and not that many other people in there.
I messaged Alice and Charlotte just before it went on saying this seemed like a good idea back in March, and then we realised it's going to be on the telly and I don't know 2 million people or however are going to be watching it.
It's kind of like let's remember we signed up for this deliberately. We're not voluntarily.
Right. We are going to take a very short break to just look at a few bits and bobs. We will be back to then talk about walls and just finish off Only Connect. And we will also be asking Jack about his T-shirt. So we will be back very, very shortly. So just to remind you that the latest video on all things quiz is the TikTok Mastermind Mars Glasspoll, champion of Mastermind Australia. Fantastic sort of 35 minutes of chat from a guy who's really entertaining bloke and also took on Rupert Murdoch's evil empire and won. So if you haven't checked that out, please do. There's loads of other interviews up there with fascinating people. He is just the most recent. And Last week's What is the Question was the answer in need of a question was Tango. The winner was this question by Harry Heath, which is the only code word of the NATO phonetic alphabet to include all 4 letters in the acronym NATO. Well done to you, Harry. This week's answer in need of a question is Dolly. We released that on Sunday morning. People have been putting questions in. There are a lot of questions, 51 questions, Valerie tells me. So you can now vote on the long list at tinyurl.com/WITQ Dolly. That's tinyurl.com/WITQ Dolly. Voting is open until Wednesday when we release the shortlist to find a winner. I think that's everything I need to tell you right now. So we are back. Something's changed in there. We are. So now, Jack, your T-shirt. Show and tell. You're on mute as well, Jack.
Shortly after filming, I saw a tweet of a guy wearing a shirt. This mine's not going to show up properly. It says, "Do not call me after 7. I'm watching Jeopardy." And so I had custom made. "Do not call me after 8 p.m. I am watching Older Connect."
Love that, Jack. Love that, Jack. That's an idea for our impending quiz-related shop.
Although I've got to say here, as a lawyer, I'm not happy with the IP infringement.
Yeah. I think this red shirt lawyers are asleep back there.
I'm not sure you can copyright a blue box, but you never know.
I don't know. I'm not an IP lawyer, so to be clear, that was not legal advice before the SRA.
That's all right. That's right. You're not going to be called on for your professional indemnity. Puzzle Dan says best shirt ever. We need a whole sub-thread of quiz-related shirts. So walls, you were both blooming brilliant at your walls. I mean, the thrifters, you've done a lot of them on Connections Online Quiz League, so you're pretty well practiced.
As well, leading up to it, yeah.
But Suncatchers, you wouldn't have known that you weren't kind of past masters at this. There's quite a bit of technique in walls and finding red herrings and cycling around the answers. For a scratch team, had you done much kind of preparation for that aspect of the game?
So we had, I wouldn't say we've done loads, but our practice had basically consisted of going through on the walls, doing puzzle grids online, where I would share my screen and I would do all the clicking. And we, for the rest of normal questions, we used the Only Connect questions database and went through some old shows and did it that way. But yeah, so we practiced doing that. This was the one thing where I think we had a tactic, or if not a tactic, a technique. And I know Thrifter's got an interesting technique that they can probably tell you about when it comes to theirs. But ours was basically, once we spotted one where it involved cycling through a few options, Alex and Charlotte just forgot that, moved on, started looking for others, while I would cycle through those. So, and I wouldn't be looking for anything else at that time. I would just, until I'd got, especially with those 5, like there were with the Oxford colleges, just go through them until you've got them, because it's so much easier if you've got one person doing that. And I would focus on the one I'm leaving out rather than the ones I'm putting in. So you've got 5, focus on the one that's leaving out. And then when I've got that, come back to them, and they've probably got another by then. And so that was our sort of one technique that we kind of agreed on. Would do that. And it helped. So I would be looking down at the screen to do that, and they'd be looking up at the big screen to focus on that. So again, you sort of had a bit of a separation in doing that. And that, I went back. It's the one thing I watched back. I went back and timed it. I think we did it in 40 seconds, which obviously was really pleased with. So we had practiced a bit, but that one just kind of felt quite nicely for us. Yeah,
no, it was great play, and 10 points when you were behind going into that wall.
Yeah,
that
so we knew worst case scenario was we're 2 points behind.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've got a chance from there, right? So
yeah. So that was a bit of a dream wall. Thrifters, you didn't know how Suncatchers had done.
We shouldn't have known, but
hello.
Do I need to put in
when we walked in on the screen, we could see the time, and the time was still up on the screen. So that kind of gave it away.
So if the game has stopped before the end, they've solved.
Yeah, I think they must have gotten onto that later on, because I don't remember it being there in one of the next games. But we knew it was pretty quick, because it had to be, because it wouldn't stop for any other reason unless they got 3 lives gone. But we didn't see that happening. To be honest.
You'd really have gone wrong if you
yeah, exactly.
You've gone right and then very wrong very quickly.
Very
wouldn't
overly
it? That would
confident.
That'd be a freakish occurrence.
So I mean, but you didn't know whether they'd got all the connections. You wouldn't.
No.
You would have had your good guess said they'd solved the wall, but they could have ended up with 7 points.
Yeah.
So, but did that put any kind of extra pressure on you, thinking, okay, if they've solved the wall, we can't let this slip?
I think we went in assuming that they'd scored 10.
Yeah.
Already. So
that was just our game plan. Just assume they score 10, and then we just go from there. Because then either you're pleasantly surprised when they didn't score 10, or you're right. And it's the kind of glass half full, glass half empty type thing. But yeah, that's just how we thought. I don't know if we're quite a pessimistic team, but yeah, that was it. So.
But not pessimistic or no cause for pessimism when you looked at actually how you played the wall. Because again, you solved it pretty quickly. To the point of having a discussion about and how will we answer this when she asks us kind of thing on the
that's very much that's what we do in Cockle kind of thing. I suppose it shows that we felt comfortable enough to sort of do that on actual TV. So
give less information and then be prompted for more.
Exactly. You can get away with that, definitely, certainly in the earlier game for sure.
It's odd because I don't think we realized that it was sort of so idiosyncratic to do that, as well as sort of save a clear category of 4 until we got to the last 2, so we could just bypass the 3 live section. I'm not sure if we did it in this episode, but yeah, we sort of realized that that's a bit strange for the show. But it sort of developed while doing Connections Online Quiz League, really.
Yeah. So that served you well because you played it well. It's good to spot the Oxford and Cambridge colleges. That was a kind of a nice balance between the 2 walls. I
thought they were quite fair this week because I mean the past couple of episodes I've kind of felt like one of the walls was me and the others, but these felt like they were pretty equal playing field, I think.
Yeah,
I thought so. Yeah. I might struggle in yours a bit. I mean, I've not seen The Matrix. I'm not a sci-fi fan, as you've seen from the fact I said I've never watched Doctor Who. I think Charlotte or Alice might have got that one, but yeah. So I think for us, it probably fell the better way. And I went to Oxford instead of Cambridge. That was the other thing I was embarrassed about today. I thought it was going to look like me saying, "Oh, I went to Oxford." Well, I did manage to say it a bit more in the sort of, I went to that, and that's why I got it, rather than sort of, although I've had a couple of messages from mates saying, "Oh, did you manage to squeeze in that you went to Merton?"
Name dropping your first grade, that's right.
So you got 10 points as well. So 22-20 going into the walls. Before the walls, the missing rounds. Before we just move on to that, so we got a few comments in here. I mean, Andrew's saying both teams just got better and better as the match progressed, and that's true. By the end, you were faultless, really. Michael, on a slightly different vein, bring back TV shows giving free gifts to contestants, especially TV shirts, the T-shirts with the logos on, which is true. Yeah. I've still got like a mug from Pass the Buck. Chris, bombshell from Chris, would wear a Dusty Bin T-shirt. Catherine, this does not surprise me. I have an I Love Mark Lebet T-shirt, to which Chris says, OMG. And I bet he has a wardrobe full of them. So the chat is doing its usual thing. Now, missing vows. We kind of talked about this right from the outset, so I got everything a bit arse about face, but I also loved some of the thought behind the questions in the missing vowels. The Bond films with one word missing was really nice set.
That felt like something you get in a later round because it was like that thing with a little bit of a twist on it. I thought that was great. Really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, and the cheese and biscuits and the animals on Bank of Scotland notes. It was just a nice set, and as you say, it played out absolutely perfectly for the drama of the show. And then to get to obsolete occupations that could be anything, cupbearer. Was that you, Will?
It was, yes. Yeah.
So there is that moment when the two teams are tied, and Ben, you've been counting, and everybody's probably quite clear that this is close. And the bell goes, and there's that momentary thing: is that our side or their side kind of thing? And Sam and Jack, was that kind of an oh my god, your life flashing before your eyes type moment? let's hope Will gets it.
Yeah, because when you hear the buzz, you're like, right, I don't know it. I hope that was Will that got that because I don't know what this one is. Yeah, definitely.
It's
Will,
I
funny
had
did
no
you know
idea
how much
what
was
the
hanging on
score
it?
was. It was just I knew they were one ahead.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I've been taking the numbers. The other thing I'd love to know, and I meant to ask them, was when they get, I assume they go into the missing vowels round with like an amount of seconds that they're going to allow for it. And then
I read the rules again after it all finished, and it said like in there, contestants will be told how long missing vowels are, but we were never told that in any of our games. So like,
I don't think it would have helped either.
No, it probably would have made it worse.
No, it doesn't help. It was more just
predetermined, but yeah, it's yeah.
It was more just thinking about the logistics of it.
Yeah,
I assume they just say, right, this one's going to be 68 seconds or whatever, and that's what it is. And
I think.
Well, we've talked about it before on the channel that it used to be back in the day that basically if everything had been answered quickly, you could have ages on the missing vowels, and then you would have teams like my team. If we were ahead, we would take a long time enunciating the answers to deny the other team points, which got termed wall stall. And then they got to the thing where basically there was just a set number of sets. Or at least it felt like that. But now we're back to it feeling like there's more time for a quicker game. So that does bring some different tactics into the game potentially, particularly if you've got a lead that you can protect. But I just want to come back to Will. Was how certain were you when you buzzed on that? Was that something where you thought it can't be anything else, or I need to get in before the other team? What's that thought process?
I think I wasn't 100% certain. I don't think you could ever. Well, you can be 100% certain, but I think it was a word that fitted with those consonants, and I couldn't think of any other possible word that would. I wasn't 100% sure if I was associated cupbearing more with mythology. I didn't know it was more an obsolete job title. So it was, but it was the only word I could really think of. And unlike the others, I hadn't really kept track of the score as well, so I didn't know that this was going to make or break it. So I think it was more. It's a word. It probably fits the category. Let's go for it.
And thankfully, there's no such thing as a cap bearer.
Yeah.
Or a cop
Luckily, I hadn't
bearer.
thought of that.
Claire is saying a cupbearer was in prison with Joseph in Genesis. And Ganymede will be upset that his job is now obsolete, says Michael. Oh, yes. I'm reminded that I need to ask for likes and subscribe. I've got this thing. I used AI. Here we go. Hang on.
Like what we do here on All Things Quiz. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel.
She sounds very nice. So do what she says. Oh, hang on.
Please like
She's going again. So yes. So the like and subscribe. We'll come back to that in a second anyway. So we touched on right at the start, kind of the drama. The good thing is, from the Suncatcher's point of view, you're coming back for another game no matter what. After this one, so we get to see you again. Did you leave this match kind of feeling buoyant? Because it's easy for I guess, if you lose a narrow match, to kind of feel, ifs and couldas and shouldas. But actually, for a scratch team, you performed really, really well. So did you leave it kind of encouraged or gutted?
So I think, we knew it was a good score, obviously. So I think there was encouragement in that. I think we thought, actually, we can do this. We can, we've got a decent chance, and so there's a bit of, that gave us a bit of confidence. We subsequently looked at it. I'm going to shoehorn this in there because I think Jack and I, between us, worked out that that's the second highest losing score of all time, joint second highest losing score ever. And I think Jack worked out that was the highest aggregate score for a match for over 10 years. So it was sort of a bit of
I think the last time 57 was scored was, I think, series 11 or 12, about 10 years ago.
Yeah, 2013, I think it was the last time. So yes, we got confidence from that, but also, obviously, the nerves start to kick in a bit then because, we were like, well, we don't want to, what if this happens again? What if, we run into somebody else who has a great game and, we're in trouble? So, I think it gave us confidence, but also cranked up the pressure and the determination. So I think you've got 7 weeks or so to wait to find out what happens.
Well, we look forward to that. On the flip side, thrifters, you will know that presumably then there's at least 2 games.
At least 2. Yeah, that was the thing. It was like, okay, no matter what happens now, we've got like a free shot, and then if we lose that one, then it's the serious one. But just glad as well that obviously you don't go home straight away now anymore, because I would have felt really bad knocking out a team with 28 and then they never come back again.
Yeah.
So it's very good that the system's in place now where you get at least 2 games no matter what.
I'm interested. I'm elongating this, and I'm going to get kicked in the ankles. But being a cockle team, you must have known that there would be a chance that you would know other teams that would be on this series.
Yes.
Did you do any kind of surreptitious scouting, looking at like kind of the teams that were coming up and things like that to try and work out if you knew anybody?
Yeah, there was a little bit of detective work, and definitely knew a couple of people in one of the other teams, but we'll leave it at that, I think, for now.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we will look forward to seeing that. Now, before we move on and say goodbye to you all, I want to ask you for your champagne moment of the night. This can be anything. It can be a comment, showing your knowledge of macaques. It can be an answer you gave. It can be a witticism. It can be a question. It can be anything to do with the show. What your favorite moment was? I'll start with you, Ben.
So from our team, I think it was Alice spotting apricot straight away. It was just brilliant, I thought. But overall, I'm going to avoid the obvious. I'm not giving Jack any more credit for his 5 points. I'm going to say Will for getting that last one and having the guts to go for cupbearer and get that. I mean, if you can get a decider like that, then, loads of credit due. So, well done, Will.
Very kind.
And we have a comment on the cupbearer thing. In our Discord watch along, 15 people confidently said capybara. So there you go.
I think I said it.
Could have gone very wrong if you'd not been careful. So, Will, your champagne. We've just heard that you gave a champagne moment. What was your champagne moment of the night?
Well,
is it the same?
I was going to be entirely selfish and pick that moment for myself, because I think we all know what Jack is going to pick. So yeah, I think. Yeah, I think other than that, I was very pleased to spot Jack Queen King. I think because that was one that required quite a bit of abstract thinking. I had Queen King Jack and then Prince, and to get them in the right order and to make sure it worked for all the clues, I think we'll go with that to be different.
Nice. Sam.
I mean, sorry, I'd post it from Jack, but it's got to be the 5-pointer. It's got to be like a good team effort on that, and it was just crazy to get the first one of the series as well.
Yeah. Brilliant. And Jack, go on, complete the set.
You spotted Matrix to be fair on the grid as well on the wall.
Yeah. It's still sort of. I went on thinking sort of. I just don't want to be sort of the sort of third wheel of the team, because I knew that the other two were sort of they have absolutely brilliant lateral thinking, and they're absolutely brilliant at wordplay and the sort of more systematic questions. So to just sort of have something which was sort of so strongly in my comfortable area of knowledge, and to get 5 points in it was just absolutely. I said on Twitter, I can die happy now.
Brilliant. Well, I mean, you all did very well. Now, maybe this is in honor of the airplane ! Round, but somebody has put hi Jack.
Maybe Jack's just got a fan.
Yeah.
Maybe you have got a fan. Well done, Jack. Have a fan club before you can have a T-shirt made and sell it to your fans. So
thank you. Vowels out of your name and stick it on a T-shirt.
Yeah,
I reckon you could sell 2 of those
at least. So thank you all for coming on. It's been great fun talking to you. We will be back in touch and trying to twist your arm to come back on for a future episode. But for now, what I'm going to do is play a couple of short videos during which our guests will mysteriously disappear. But thanks so much, everybody. Goodbye. And when we come back, we will talk about University Challenge and some news from the world of quiz.
Thanks, Gareth.
Huge thanks to our community of All Things Quiz members. Your support helps us to keep this channel going. It pays for essential running costs. Now, if you want to become a member of All Things Quiz, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/allthingsquiz, and from £3 a month, you not only get to support the work of this channel, but there are a range of member benefits available, including our monthly quiz. Hope to see you soon. If you like what we do here at All Things Quiz, then please make sure you click the subscribe button. Please also click the like button. That helps YouTube to recommend us to other people like you. You can also share our videos with others and click the notifications button to make sure you're alerted whenever we release a new video. So now I'm alone. I've been left. It is just me. Now, we had Southampton versus Christchurch Oxford in University Challenge. Sadly, we don't have any guests for University Challenge on, so I won't labour the point. If you've got any comments about it in the chat, then please put them in. But I thought it was a good match between Southampton and Christchurch. It looked like potentially Southampton were going to do very well early on. Church fought back with a pretty decisive string of buzzes. The scores at the end, 180, 155. Hard to know what a score is that gets you through as a high scoring loser at the moment in this series. Only University Challenge is having so... Don't know what happened there. University Challenge is having so many more starters now asked that the scores are inflated, and it's all the better for it. So, yes, a very good episode. Some great answers. The recognition of Red Hot Chili Peppers, the F203 slight error, responded with "Oh God, I'm so sorry." Great reaction. It was just a very entertaining show. Great performances by Rick Ramasinger and Watton, the captains, both playing very, very well. So we will definitely see Christchurch Oxford back in the next round. Southampton, we will have to wait and see. Chris saying, once again, UC did its thing of throwing up a couple of pointers I've never heard of. Painters. Oh, I'm misreading that. A couple of painters I've never heard of. Yeah, I have to say that third one in that bonus set, I really like the look of that picture. So I'll have to look out for that. So there was some good, interesting writing, bathing in mythology, African national parks, backward recordings as a music set was really good. And I've never heard of that Frascatoro guy at the end, so probably says more about me than anything else. But it was a good episode. Two good teams playing, and we will see at least one of them in the next round. Now, let's have a look at the news from the world of quiz from the last week. And let's start with last week's winner of Quizzer of the Week was Dylan Minerick, who won the... what did he win? I've lost track of it. International Culture Challenge, was it? No, Mimir's Well. He won Mimir's Well. Second was Michael Butt-Partner, who won the All Things Quiz Monthly quiz. And third was Danny McMillan for his performance on University Challenge last week. Team of the week was the Antiphons from Only Connect. Equal second was Chaotic Good MILF Hotel, the champions of OQL USA, and Birkbeck College from University Challenge. Will we ever see a different winner than Chaotic Good MILF Hotel? Michael reacting to his position. Where are we? That'll do nicely, he says. Yeah, there we go. Well done. And Chris played Michael. So well done to all of those. Now, moving on. This week's nominees. Well, for Quizzer of the Week, we have the first nominee is Kevin Ashman. You don't need to be told who Kevin Ashman is. Multiple world champion, multiple European champion, multiple British champion. He won his first Quest Grand Prix for a while, but he won it in absolute style. I think it was something like 11 clear points that he won it, and he won 4 out of the 6 genres. So an absolutely dominant performance from Kevin there. Fantastic. We then have a clutch of Quiz League of London Summer League for houses: Peter Curry, Joe Hansen, Quentin Holt, Ned Pendleton. So well done to those. Nothing to separate you. We had a nominee, a write-in nominee from Liberia. The wonderfully named Saviour Snay was the best science quizzer and most valuable player at the LINSU and IQA Liberia National County Academic Meet 2023. So this is a competition for, I believe, schools, and Saviour Snay was the best player across that competition, across all genres, but also the best science quizzer on his own. So well done to Saviour. Aaron Thompson got 13 out of 15 in Pop Solos. That's the pop culture quiz, Mimir quiz in America. That was the top score in that this week. And Stanley Wang also got a QLL Summer League full house. So well done to those nominees. And the nominees team of the week, well, there's not much team quizzing action happening at the moment. So we've got Christchurch Oxford University Challenge winners tonight. For Netta or Verst, the winners of 2 matches in the Quiz League of London Summer Friendly League. We've got Montserrado County, who won the Linsu IQA Liberia National County Academic Meet. So they were the team champions. And Thrifters, who won tonight's Only Connect. You can vote at tinyurl.com/QW07AUG23. Voting is open until Friday. Now, we also have some shout-outs this week. So, Grand Bassa County. Oh, I really didn't do the formatting on this slide, did I? That's my bad. Grand Bassa County were the best team from outside Monrovia in Liberia. They came 3rd in that Liberian National Academic Competition. So, well done to them. And the end of the Quest Grand Prix season was this Saturday with the Grand Prix. And a number of players you can see here, Michael McPartland, Brian Craythorne, Toby Cox, Martin Whiteman and Rob Greenhill all got promoted to Grandmaster on the Quizzing Order of Merit. The next season starts the first weekend of September with the British Championships. So well done to them. Now, don't forget, if you want to nominate a quizzer or team for an award or even to give a shout out, then send it into tinyurl.com/ATQ nominations by 4 o'clock on a Monday. Don't rely on me finding or spotting the achievements. Send it in, as a number of people did this week, to make sure that things are included. Catherine, dear Kevin, what's your secret? Being phenomenally good and working very, very hard, I'm sure. Now, we also have some news from the world of quiz, some events that are happening. So open for applications, Connections Online Quiz League. You heard about it tonight from some of the teams. That's still open for nomination, open for applications at quizcentral.net. You may remember last season we had nominees for Quizzer of the Week who participated in the Chinese poetry quiz on Chinese TV. Well, that quiz is now open for applications. I put the URL up there. At the moment, it's Shanxi and Shanxi provinces, but other provinces will have their audition times soon. And if you want to take part in that competition, go to that address and find out how to apply. And if you do go for it, let us know how you get on. Now, the Deutschland Cup is happening in August. You can apply to participate in that if you're in Germany at www.quizverein.de. Flames, the Indian-based pop culture competition, is still open for applications. Pop Culture Challenge is still open. And the Pop Culture Buzzer Quiz, which was promoted on the OQL Facebook, is full team-wise, but you may be able to find a team to play for. So upcoming events, they're all listed here. I'm not going to go through all of them, except to let you know that the Next All Things Quiz Members Quiz will be sometime around the end of this month. And to be a member, you join our Patreon at patreon.com/allthingsquiz. And we'd love to have you there. The British Championships are on the 2nd of September. In Croatia, the Mirko Mirčić Memorial is happening on 16th to 17th of September. And I think that's all of the new ones there. And final comment is, look at our link tree at the bottom. That gives you all the links to everything that we do. So that is it for Quizzy Monday for this week. Thank you so much for everybody who has commented and chatted. It's been a good, fun evening tonight. Thanks to Will, Jack, Sam, and Ben for coming on from Only Connect. Don't forget to vote in what is the question at tinyurl.com/WITQ Dolly. And don't forget to vote for the Quizzer and Team of the Week at tinyurl.com/QW07AUG23. We will be back next week. We have at least one confirmed guest. Won't spoil that yet. And it's going to be another great week of quiz. So have a fantastic week. And much like Chris, I'm off to watch Renata Road for the 5th time. Look it up on YouTube. Until next week, we will see you again soon. Goodbye, everybody.